What's going on YouTube? Welcome to another video. You're joining me here for my back day, starting off with the rows and still using the Versa grips here and just slowly working up, getting warmed up to the heavier movement and really using this as a gauge to figure out where my biceps at and slowly build muscle with a decent amount of weight, range of motion that will emulate kind of like the deadlift and everything else. So that's the game plan, is to keep working out and slowly introduce not only more weights but more overload, let the body recover, and just rinse and repeat, hoping everything will kind of recover around it and get stronger overall. So that's kind of the logic there, and I figure you can only squat and deadlift so much, so why not do something that used to be an assistance to my deadlift. And just really haven't done traditional rows. Like, I never really enjoyed them. It was always an awkward movement. Like I said, I've got long legs, long arms, short torso, so it was always a weird, strange movement to do, and you just kind of got to work around what you got. So that's what I've always done. And I much prefer the Penlay row from the ground. Just seems to be a little bit easier of a lift altogether. And comfort is something you really should consider. Obviously, you're not going to be comfortable 100% of the time, but if anything is causing discomfort, pain, it's probably not something that you're going to want to consider continuing with, and something you're not want to expose yourself to. It could lead to other things too. So sometimes during the workout, things are taken and busy, so we'll kind of flip around the exercises. I do have a preference for what order I like to do them in. Usually it's by, not difficulty, but fatigue. So obviously, like, the low row with the cable is probably the least fatiguing movement of all the back stuff. So I prefer to do the hard stuff first, save most of my energy for that, and finish off with these. But not always the case when you're in a gym. There's always other people around doing stuff. So you really just have to, plan around that accordingly. Lat pull down, I just moved to just adjacent to the lower row, obviously. Because normally I'll do the T-bar row right after the barbell row. Just it's more fatiguing. And it's honestly incredibly uncomfortable when you do a T-bar row. It just puts so much pressure on the body. I don't know what it is about that movement. Not a big fan, but there's only so many variations of back stuff you can do. Not only to keep you interested, but to see growth and everything else too, though. So lat pull down, always a staple, and a little bit of, kind of like resistance, speed bumpiness going on here with extension of like my arm. So I'm trying to take it easy with that. Same thing with the T-bar row. I don't always do like a full extension to the bottom, but I do get the stretch in the lat. And that's really kind of the most important thing, at least that I found. And you just have to play around with what you got to see what you can handle, what you can't, and kind of go from there. And like I said, just long arms. So in order for me to get the contraction, it looks like it's just a weird thing, man. I'm telling you, to be built like this, you don't really start realizing it until you get into the depths of lifting and look at how everybody else is moving weight. And you have these mechanical and motor issues when you're lifting, and you're like, man, why am I having these issues? And a lot of it is structural and stuff you cannot change. Because if you talk to people that have ideal leverages for stuff, there's really not much more knowledge to be gained from there. So it is what it is. Started introducing cable pullovers because I wanted another lat exercise. And the first time I did these, you can see the grimace on my face, because you can literally feel almost every fiber in the lat being utilized when you do them. And so my goal was to isolate, so you'll sometimes get a tricep pump just from the natural movement. But with these, I'd usually do like a slight bend in the elbow so that you're not getting like a complete extension of the elbow. But I did what I could, and it wasn't, I don't know. At least in this video, I did make some modifications with updated, not only tools, but cues and stuff that I like a little bit better. So they're going to get better. And then, like I said, you ultimately you ultimately get a contraction that you're not going to feel on a lot of other back exercises just from, the movement alone. And honestly, with dumbbells, the wider you go, essentially, on a back movement like that, the greater lat engagement you got. And ultimately, like with the dumbbell, like, yeah, you can get some carryover, but it's just not the same thing as like doing it from a cable or like an extension or anything like that. So, I don't know. To me, at least, it was, I used to do them, then I stopped doing them, and I'm back to doing them again. It just feels good to get the contraction in there. And obviously, just following up with bicep stuff, matching up muscle groups. If you're going to work out one, you're going to get some carryover. And at least with these, just trying to go slower than usual. I don't realize how fast I lift until I actually watch videos. But trying to, hold that contraction has been feeling really good lately. And just in my own mind, being weary of how I'm moving is super beneficial to me as well too. So moving into lower body. And like I said before, we're doing the same stuff over and over again because it works. So Hatfield squats here. And really just utilizing these as a way to overload. And for some variety. I was just sick and tired of straight squatting. It's just not, I don't know. Again, not the movement that I enjoy the most. So when things are going great, it's awesome. And when they're not going great, oh man, what do I do? Sometimes your knees get sore, your hips get tight just from, the constant battering. So you got to open them up and figure out what you got to do to get them ideal for what you need to accomplish. And so I figure take some time with the Hatfield squat, see if we can get some sort of carryover from some different variation, similar movement patterns, and at least overload and maybe learn something about the squat movement. But I'm finding naturally when I sit, I just come forward. That's why low bar squats never really worked well for me. It's hard to sit. I can sit back, but my torso still goes forward just based off of mechanics, femur length, stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm just happy I can squat, to be honest. So cool little angle here just so you can kind of see from the side. And again, like not the most complex movement. It did take time to get comfortable with just leaving or letting the SSB sit on the traps and everything. It was kind of scary, but you realize how secure you are after you do it for a little bit. And the overload's nice. You're loading the spine, so you want to be careful with bracing. You want to make sure you're bracing correctly, and by not having to worry about, I guess, staying as upright as you normally would on a regular squat, you can really focus on that brace. And you'll see here when I initiate the lift, kind of like sitting back like that. But even if I sit back, like look where my chest and torso is, it like naturally goes forward just because, like I said, short torso, long legs, so I have to clear that in order to get to the depth that I'm trying to get to. So with that bar higher up, it just pushes you forward, which makes the lift harder, increases the moment arm. And so you don't have to be a great squatter to get the benefit out of it, but it's just a different stimulus, build things back and just kind of work on things that you may not be able to focus on with a traditional back squat, like I said, when worrying about staying so upright and things like that. Sumo deadlift here, really starting to push the deadlifts, pulling over 300 for a while. And I was just playing it by ear to see, what was feeling good, what I could and couldn't do. And obviously using the Versa grips. I tend to use them for sumo just to prevent windmilling, but also providing something there where I can reinforce my own grip where that's not the limiting factor. Obviously, not on this weight, but more so for comfort and symmetry. The last thing you want to do is start creating muscle imbalances after you've had an injury. Just makes coming so much easier. I can get closer to the bar, and it just allows better overall contact and movement. I don't get that weird lockout issue that I normally get with conventional. So, I can feel like I can definitely push sumo. If I strictly did sumo, I'd deadlift a lot more, but conventional seems more natural to me, even if there is more of a struggle. It just kind of is what it is. And those are your body leverages and how you're built. You can't really do much else out of that. So various leg press angles here. And like I said, I hate this leg press. Doesn't feel good in any sort of way that you do it. Not a good time. And I don't know. I love leg pressing. It's just so natural to me. Like more so than squatting. I've always been able to leg press a lot. But not on this one without getting any sort of fatigue in the lower back and just issues altogether. Single leg curls here, just unilateral stuff, just to make things a little bit more interesting, like I said before. And, variety. It does extend the amount of time that you have to do the lift, and then also more fatiguing, but there's Garrett over there. But just mentally giving me some other challenge that I can improve on. And I do have an imbalance in both legs, so hopefully this isn't going to completely balance it out, but it just provides just added support to each side to at least give them time and attention so that the weak side doesn't take over or doesn't suffer any discrepancy with the strong side taking over. In leg extensions, I used to do them unilateral, not anymore. I was just, the way this machine is, my right leg was just too close to the fulcrum. It was just super uncomfortable, so stuck with both and got the same effect. But that's the workout here. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. See you in the next one.
Thanks for watching the latest video. If you want to help support the channel, I actually own my own wet shaving and grooming e-commerce website where everything's handmade by me. It's www.apexsoaps.com, and you can get a 10% off code using wet shaver. We've got some cool scents here. We've got some Coca-Cola scents, a horchata scent, traditional barbershop, just some really cool stuff. And you can purchase samples or you can buy the whole set. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out via email. Be quick to respond. Thanks for watching.